You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets on Media Network.
All right, you are with the Arms Room with Glenn
and John,
and we were talking about fun things.
Yes,
so we were a little distracted. How was your weekend, John?
It was fantastic. We pretty much hung out all weekend.
We did. We pretty much spent the entire weekend together. We had our whole team pretty much together.
Yeah,
for the whole weekend. We had classes going Saturday and Sunday. We had the
grand opening for Tombstone Tactical.
Grand opening of Tombstone Tactical on Saturday in Phoenix. Great store, great place to go. I bought a bunch more 22 there. They still may or may not have some.
I'm willing to bet they don't, because there were people that literally walked in. Hey, where's the 22? I'm willing to bet they do. All right.
Some of us may have been in the back room.
I've been in the back room.
Have seen how much they still
have.
Black Friday is going to be a good day to go back to Tombstone if you're looking for 22.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
definitely. Okay. I'll have to go down there before then.
It's going to be a good time to go. A really good time to go.
Wow.
Yeah. Good store, though. They get tons of stuff. All good stuff, too. No crap in there. Good equipment, good ammo. And you know what I've always liked about Tombstone Tactical is when so they initially started their store up in Chino Valley, up in my neck of the woods, right? And during the Great Panic of Madness, they never gouged.
Well, that's because their primary business is online.
Yeah, but they still could have. There were still plenty of online people, like Cheaper Than Dirt or whatever, who were ripping people off left and right. And Brian, the guy who owns the company, he never gouged anybody. He was always like, you know, the way he explained it to me was basically like, look, if I'm making X percentage on the ammo before the panic, I'm still only trying to make X percentage on the ammo during the panic. Like he never tried to gouge anybody, rip anybody off. When PMags were going nuts and they were $60, $80, if you could get them in Tombstone, you were still getting them for, $20 or whatever they could sell them for and still maintain their profit margin. So it was great. That speaks a lot about someone's kind of ethics and their business capability when they're not gouging, and they could be.
Yes.
So I thought it was great. So if you haven't been to their new store in Phoenix and you're in Arizona, you should definitely stop by.
You should.
It's right off the freeway, right off 17 and Peoria. Great place. Really
right
like
by the
it.
Metro Center.
And they sell Independence Training medical kits.
And they sell Redwire gear stuff.
Slings,
card wallets, and our rear squeeze packs.
I like to call them rifle sacks. I like to believe that my rifle has a big old sack. Sometimes I squeeze it.
Don't go screwing up the name of my products.
I think you should call it rifle sack.
Oh, well, that's why you don't own Redwire gear.
Yeah. All right. What did we do on Sunday? We taught a class.
We taught a class.
We taught a carbine class over in Phoenix, and we had almost our whole team was out there. We had two of our instructors running through as students, getting some refresher training. John and I were teaching it. Great class.
It was a lot of fun.
Lots of fun. Didn't end up picking up brass till like 6. Heads up, sun goes down before then.
Yes, it does.
Picking up brass in the dark sucks. Many hands make light work, though, so it's nice to have the students help.
It
There's a little note to you. If you're listening and you go to training classes, and if you don't go to training classes, quit being a fag and go to some training classes. But if you, when you go to training classes, you really should stay afterwards and help people pick up brass.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, when I first started training, I would always tell the students, like, don't worry, I'll get it. That lasted about 2 classes. And I was like, dude, there's like 1,000 pieces.
We were doing that when I first started working for you.
That's right. I guess I was still doing it by the time you came around. Yeah, it didn't take very long for that to end. Once we started getting to the point where there was like 10, 12 or more students, it was like, all right, 12 people, 300-400 rounds a day.
Yeah.
All
the students are gone by 6.
I didn't graduate college, but I know it's a big number. And that's more than I want to pick up.
All the students are gone by 6.
Yeah.
And John and Glenn are still picking up brass at like 8:30.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, we were. So stick around, help out, help clean up. Yeah. Here's a couple etiquette things that
show up an hour early.
Don't show up really early, because we like to sit around and chat and
do whatever it is we do in the morning.
Check the zero on our rifles and set stuff up and relax and tell dirty jokes and do whatever else we want to do.
Shooting,
a little bit of Zen time.
Yeah.
And afterwards, help pick up brass, but then leave.
Yes.
because we want to talk about you behind your back.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you really need to leave. So yeah, there's some etiquette for training classes. All right. All right. That's it. That's all we did this weekend. We just trained.
That's all we did this weekend.
We just did training nonstop, which is great. It was great. And the weather's so beautiful down here now. Still, it's too cold up where I'm at now.
Yeah,
it's beautiful down here in Phoenix
terrible.
now.
I was up there this morning. It was like 23 degrees.
Yeah, you were up there really early this morning though, and it's chilly before the sun comes up. So
it's terrible.
So one thing I want to mention for those watching our YouTube video and those who are not, you're on podcast, iTunes or something like that, and you cannot see our beautiful faces. I'm tricked out today. I'm all kitted up.
You look.
I'm an operator operating operationally.
Yep, in an operational
In
environment.
this dynamically adaptive battle space. Remember my new word, battle space?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, what I've got on right now is some AR500 gear. Picked up a full set of armor from our friends over at AR500. This is their Banshee carrier.
Mm-hmm.
I've got front and back AR500 plates. I also have the side plates on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I got mag pouches up front for my carbine and my handgun. Really great, comfortable carrier. I actually really like the Banshee carrier.
Yeah, I do. I've got one personally, and I love it.
They're really comfortable. I did some exercising in it last week after I first picked it up, and this sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks to your workout regimen in full armor,
Yeah,
it's different when you're just like in armor, humping stuff around and doing, cool guy stuff. But when you're like working out,
do some jumping jacks, maybe some rope climbs.
Terrible.
Terrible.
So anyways, good setup. And the cool thing about AR500 gear is that it's so cost effective.
Yeah.
This full setup, front and back plates, side plates, 2 mag pouches carbine, 2 mag pouches pistol. And it also comes with a universal holster. I don't use it because I don't like it where they won't, where you've got space for. I don't like it there, but it does come with all that. And it is like $420 or so.
Under 500.
Oh, it's way under 500.
Way under 500 bucks.
Yeah, it's like $425. If you threw in a set of trauma pads, which I highly recommend, if you want to know what trauma pads are all about, go to AR500 Armor's YouTube channel. Watch their most recent video that has Tyler, the owner of the company, demonstrating why you should wear trauma pads. He uses some like clay to show how much, even with higher calibers, how much back face deformation you get on the armor that, punches through basically. Bullets not going through, but it's causing trauma, and how the pads totally stop that. And that's like an extra, I don't know, not much. $450, you could probably get the whole setup ish, and great products. And they have full carriers and armor sets all the way down to like $175 bucks, I think. So, check out AR500armor.com. Great equipment. So check them out. All right, let's get on today.
Let's do it.
Any cool news stories?
I don't know. I was not at home, and I don't use my smartphone for that stuff. So I don't know if there's any cool news stories or not.
I don't use my smartphone for anything cool.
Chuck Hagel's stepping down.
What?
There you go.
New SecDef.
Why is he stepping down?
Why's he stepping down?
Unknown.
He's tired of it.
Someone found some dirt on him, probably.
He
Probably.
came into end a war, not to start one. And since we're kind of headed that direction, I guess.
All right. So now that one of our guests has spoken today, let's introduce our guests that we have on the show today. We have 2 great guys with us who are going to talk to us about gear and equipment today. One of them is my dad.
Yeah.
He's visiting from Colorado. He was on the show about this time last year.
4th appearance.
Yeah, but he just creepily sat there and didn't really say much. So this time I told him, you can't come on the show unless you're going to talk.
All right. I'm surprised that worked out for you. I'm surprised he didn't bend you over his knee and spank you.
Yeah, well, he doesn't spank me anymore. He just punched me in the face.
All right, that'll work.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Is that why you've got your hat pulled down nice?
That is why, yeah. I've got makeup on this eye. Black eye.
Good job. Good work, Sam.
I think sometimes he just wishes he could hit me a lot. So yeah, my dad, Sam, is in the studio with us today. He's gonna be talking to us a little bit about gear, back from the cavalry days, right? How you guys fought the Indians. Is that what you're gonna be talking about today? Awesome. That's gonna be so cool.
We just totally had a flashback to that conversation we had with Sean.
With Sean for Tacometic.
Yeah, way to go, you upstart. I can't say those words on here anymore.
Yeah, he's funny. He's a funny guy. All right, and we also have John with us in the studio, who's going to be talking with us about all kinds of other gear. And John looks like a lumberjack.
He does look like a lumberjack.
But maybe he is a lumberjack. Are you a lumberjack? He's going to talking to us about chainsaws and double bit axes
Heck yeah.
and how we're going to use that to fight off ISIS.
That'll
Now,
work.
John has a lot of experience. I'll let him elaborate as much as he wants to or doesn't want to on that. He's got a lot of experience in utilizing a lot of the gear, that some of us have a little bit of experience with, but not nearly as extensive as what John's got. So he's going to be talking to us about what he's seen over the last many years, the evolution of gear, how he's seen things change, how he's seen things get better. I always used to joke when I was in basic training, how I used the same rifle my dad used in Vietnam. There was this span of time where there was not any evolution really on gear. I mean, it was very minimal.
Minor changes.
It was very minimal. We had like this, 30-year period where there just wasn't a lot of changes, and then all of a sudden, with a pretty full-on war happening in two different countries, man, we had a lot of improvements on equipment and gear. So that's really what we're going to be talking about. So thanks, guys, for coming in the studio with us and talking. So, John, why don't you kind of start off just by telling us kind of as much as you want to tell us, I guess, about operationally kind of where you started and what kind of gear you initially kind of got issued, or what were you initially using?
Remember the LCEs?
LCEs, yeah.
The suspenders and the big belt
Yeah.
and the pouches.
Alice gear, man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Started off there and then ended up with a LBV
hmm
with the giant shoulder pads and angled magazine pouches.
Mhm.
Terrible.
I still have one of those things
I do
in a
too.
box somewhere.
I'm sure I do too, but that was probably the worst one out of all of them.
So what compared to what you think you use now? Because the thing about back then is you go, well, this sucks, but it was typically still an improvement over something else, right?
Mhm.
Like the LBE, right? It was an improvement over that a little bit at least, but still, especially compared to what we have today, it's no good. So what especially about that kind of equipment? Because you still see that kind of stuff sold in surplus places. Mason, you guys still see that kind of stuff sold over Allied?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and people still buy it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can pick them up probably, what are they, $25, $40 maybe?
Just depends on the pattern. Yeah.
I mean, they're not an expensive thing, which I think is probably why they're still marketable.
Yeah.
So why should someone, look at equipment beyond that?
Well, you're looking at it as it's an era where we didn't wear a whole lot of heavy body armor. So it was easier to have things where they were at on the LCE or LBB. And but once they started the IBA body armor, everything had to change. It was that push that we needed. I think those came out in like 2000, maybe 99.
Yeah.
And when the Molly 2 came out, that just changed everything.
So LBE is load-bearing equipment.
Mhm.
LBV, load-bearing vest, things I'm familiar with. The IBAs, I do not remember what that stands for.
Individual body armor.
Individual body armor. That's it. All right. So IBAs were really basic level armor.
Yep, just plate, and then you fold it over
Yep.
in the front, and you're ready to go.
Incredibly restricting.
Very much.
Yeah.
And ridiculously uncomfortable compared to what's out there now. But I remember when I joined the Marine Corps in '99, it was probably around the same time you came into the service.
02.
Okay. Yeah, the same kind of era. I was given a flak vest that you could jab a wooden pencil through if you really wanted to. And then the LCE or the LBV, the Y harness, the H harness, it just depended on what your supply guy had.
Sure.
And then as I was getting ready to get out, the Interceptor vest, which was the first iteration of the IBA, came out, and I got this thing, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then I wore it for like 8 hours, and I'm like, this thing is terrible. Because they basically took a vest and put a really heavy plate in the front, a really heavy plate in the back, and it sucked because all of the weight was right here. All of the weight was right here.
Right where? Because remember, not everyone can see us.
Oh, on your shoulders. It's
All
like all of the weight rested on your shoulders. Like it was like a backpack with a really heavy front piece attached to it. So it wasn't very comfortable, but it was a massive improvement, and it was legitimate soft armor. And then you had the ability to put the plates in it. So it was a mass improvement.
Yeah, but is that stuff as comfortable as setting on as a flak vest?
Yeah. Now let's talk about a
No.
different era. All right. So what was a flak vest like, and what did it really stop, Dad? I mean, literally it stopped flak. Like it wasn't going to stop a bullet.
No, unless it hit at an angle, and it might, slow it down. But like I said, the flak vest was flying a helicopter. You could fold a couple of them up and sit on top of it. It might save your butt, literally. But they were heavy and uncomfortable and really didn't do a whole lot of good.
Now, how many guys, did you see who chose not to wear a flak vest who might have been saved by one? Or was it enough protection to really have reduced casualties that much?
If I was if you were in a vehicle traveling, yeah, it was worthwhile wearing it. But if you were out humping it, it was you were going to die of heat stroke more than it was going to save you. So,
all right. So from flak vest, and I still saw flak vests, in service. I don't think I would. I mean, I would imagine today that they're probably anywhere.
I would think not.
That's probably the kind of stuff we give to our, allies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the kind. You guys want a shipment of some armor, whatever we got left. And now, what was in flak vest?
I have no idea.
No idea.
I think.
Do you know, John?
From the one that I remember, we had one in basic, and I think it's just that same kind of armor that's underneath the plates.
It was a real loose Kevlar,
Yeah.
like a real loose
Kevlar kind of thing. Yeah.
And the one that your dad would have worn would have been about, I don't know, they're probably 3 or 4 inches thick.
Well, they were about 2 inches thick.
About 2 inches thick. And then the ones that we had were, I mean, they had it down, so it was a much tighter weave, but it was still heavy, and that thing did not breathe.
I remember the first time putting one on was on the grenade range. And they were not properly sized for you. They were just like, put this really heavy crap on so that in case you decide to poke your head up, you might actually not die.
Yeah.
But that was really the only time I ever put one on.
Yeah.
A flak vest type of thing. And that was the only experience I had with that at all. So now we're like with the IBAs. And what era are we here, John? Are we early 2000s still?
I know they used them in Afghanistan in 01. And I used one all the way up till 2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the IBA really traveled quite a bit with you and your experience.
But it got, the longer it went, the worse it got, because then they started adding the neck collars,
right.
And then they had these giant side plates on them, and then it was just pointless.
And then the shoulder covers and the giant.
Oh, and
the groin protector.
The big
arm
daps.
protector.
And the butt pad too. There's a butt pad and everything.
Yeah.
We still actually use those too. We still have IBAs in circulation.
So based on your experience and what you saw, did all that extra level of protection actually save lives? I mean, like Dad kind of said, you were more likely to die of heat stroke than be saved by a flak vest. Well, my experience was that guys wanted to take all that crap off.
Yeah.
They want to get all that, you want to be light and fast.
Yeah.
You trade mobility for protection. It's still the way I do it. Even as a regular guy, I just, everything I build, all my armor is always based on, or any load bearing equipment I use is always based on mobility. I will sacrifice mobility for protection.
Well, I also agree with you.
Or the other way around, I guess.
About being in a vehicle. If you're in a vehicle all the time, I'd probably want to wear everything to a point. But once you get up into the mountains or wherever you're going, it's worthless.
Yeah. So did you see most guys pull that stuff off? Yeah. Were they trying to pull off as much of that armor as possible, basically, and just keep front and back protection?
Yeah. And then when I was in Afghanistan in 05, they were like, you're not allowed to take the neck protectors off. You got to keep that, because there was a lot of injuries, I think, that year.
Yeah, there were a lot of guys up in the turrets that were getting jacked up, which is where the shoulder dap, the big shoulder protection came from.
Right.
Those came, I think, after that deployment.
Yeah.
And, but when we were there, we had the, I guess, Gen 1 up armored Humvees, and we would just sit on the top of them and roll around. So
and those pretty thin skinned stuff.
Yeah, right? They're not like the newer Humvees at all. So.
Right. So then where do we go from there? Where do we go from standard, the average guy being issued IBAs, and we throw on some extra armor that most people don't like. If you're in a vehicle, especially with blast protections, we moved into Iraq and we started facing that whole new threat. All that extra armor would really help with, blast protection. But if we're out on foot outside of a vehicle, where'd that kind of next advancement come?
Well, in 05, I was in a long-range surveillance unit, so we did have some plate carriers and stuff like that, and that's where I first noticed the plate carrier. What is this?
Mhm.
Oh my God, this is cool. I
can move.
I can wear my chest rig and just the plates. No
Mhm.
way. So that's where I first started noticing it, and we used it a couple times on actual surveillance missions because it's be light as possible because those packs are 200 pounds as it is because you're going in for 10 days or whatever. And then they came out with the IOTV.
Yeah.
Right. So the plate carrier wise, you guys were ceramics.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So ceramic plates being capable of stopping, 308, one shot of 30-6 AP, typically not a huge threat over there, but good because they can stop all the 30 cal stuff because you are facing 7.62 by 5.4, 7.62 by 3.9, stuff like that. So you're still facing 30 caliber threats. So ceramic's good for that. So then the IOTV, which I have no experience with other than hearing terrible stories.
I like mine.
Yeah.
You're getting into my generation now, and you start talking about IOTVs and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So this was the ACU IOTV, giant neck collar, some kind of pad that hung down over your butt.
Yeah.
And side plates, everything.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming it weighed 45 pounds or more. At least that's what it felt like. But then you got your what are they called? The front load carry vest.
The FLC.
Plus all that, and it was just super heavy. But whenever we went up in the mountains, we took the side plates out, the collars off, and the butt pad or whatever it is off, and still uncomfortable and heavy. But I guess that would have been better than having to wear it up there. So,
all right.
Well,
what were you gonna say, John?
In my opinion, there are actually 3 generations of the IOTV. The first and second generation is like a stupid minor difference. It's like a stitch because those were also releasable. They had a tab in them because we would play stupid games where you'd come up, oh, hey, buddy.
Yeah,
and
now
drop
it's
their
an
armor.
Article 15.
And then you get punched in the face because that was the deal in our unit. You drop somebody's armor like that, they get to punch you in the face. Anyhow, so it was a real pain in the patukas to weave that thing back through. So between the first and second gen, they added a little stitch that split that cable the way it was supposed to split. Second generation was fantastic. If you took the side plates out of it, which pretty much everybody did, take at least the front collar out of it because it's a drop over your head. It's got the cummerbund, so it helps really distribute the weight evenly, and it doesn't just rest on your shoulders. So you take the growing protector off because it's fairly useless. It only gets in the way for everything. Take at least the front part of the collar out, and then you take the side plates out. And it's actually a really comfortable, in my opinion, one of the most comfortable rigs I've ever worn. I've got one. I wish it weren't an ACU because if it weren't, I'd wear it.
Yeah,
that would be my go-to armor choice because of the way it's designed. It's full of soft armor, so you're still getting some level of protection, even if you take the side plates out, which side plates are terrible.
They are. They're incredibly uncomfortable. Incredibly uncomfortable.
And then they went from that second generation, which was really awesome, and they had like a thin plastic insert in the sides so that they held some shape. And then they went to the third generation and totally screwed the whole system up. They put this giant plastic buckle release system in it that was terrible, and it like dug into your collarbones if you wore it. So
yeah, the third
that's
gen
where we're at now.
I was fortunate enough that I got a second gen. Everybody else in my company got a third gen only because they don't make smalls in the third gen.
They don't
or
make
they didn't at the
smalls.
time.
They don't make Asian
No
smalls.
children's sizes, eh,
But
Mason?
we had several people in our company break the buckles on theirs downrange. And when you try and get new buckles, they're like, we don't have replacement buckles for those. So they had to literally 550
I'm
cord their
just
armor.
guessing that was probably after my time. So I didn't see that one.
All right. So after the IOTV, I really think, a lot of guys now seem to be rocking plate carriers. I mean, that really seems to be the way that everything's moved from the flak vest all the way up to now a plate carrier. And it seems to be, at least for me, again, being a regular guy, for me, the way I like to do is like, I want a good amount of protection over my most vital areas. And other than that, I want to keep things small. I want to keep things light and comfortable because I want to be able to move fast. I will, as I kind of screwed it up earlier, but I will sacrifice protection for mobility.
Right.
I want to be able to move quickly, and you see that a lot, with a lot of guys who really are kicking in doors and shooting people in the face. Their whole thing is small plates. I mean, I've seen operational guys, some of the guys I've trained with, where they have like a 9x9 trauma plate up front. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. That's all they're rocking. You know, they're doing personal protection stuff, or they're doing some real hard hitting, you know, fast raids, and they're just rocking small 9x9 plates up front and in back, and that's it. That's all they're rocking. You know, and then they drop a chest rig over it and they call it a day. And, you know, so it's like they just want something to carry around ammunition, and they just don't want to get shot in the heart. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty much what they're trying to stop. So, I mean, what do you think about that, John? Just before we go to break, kind of give me your 2 cents on the idea of plate carriers. What do you think about, or kind of what have been your experience with the comfort or capability of a plate carrier?
I have one. I wish we could have used it the entire time I was in, or then we also, when I was contracting, we used the Diamondback Predator vest, which is, it's almost a plate carrier, but it's almost a full armor too. It's got the spot for the sides plates, but we didn't have those, but it was just real simple and, you know, roughly about the size of what you're wearing right now. And it was comfortable, more comfortable than any other armor I've ever worn.
Yeah.
But bottom line, I just need something to protect my chest and light. That's the best thing.
That's really the best. And that's one of the things we see in classes, you know, inevitably at carbine classes, especially, you know, no one wants to typically come all kitted out to like a handgun class. Man, as soon as we do a carbine class, you know, it's like that whole sexy appeal to it. Everyone's got to like dress up in their costumes, you know what I mean, to come train with us. And they want to bust out their kits. And it's legitimate for some guys. Like yesterday, we had a couple of the guys from AR500 in the class. Obviously, they're there testing gear. They're there training with their own equipment, which is awesome. We had a couple other guys there, you know, with chest rigs and plates on and stuff like that. And that's good. You want that because you have equipment. You want to know, hey, where does this rub? Where does this shape? Where do I need to add extra padding? How do I need to adjust these straps? Can I run with this, etc.? So, I mean, that's really important. There's a lot of people, though, as John, you know, with his business Redwire loves to post pictures of on his Facebook page. You know, there's a lot of people out there who they're just going like the heaviest tons, huge ammo, tons of huge plates, tons of ammo, freaking knives and pistols and shotgun shells and all kinds of
shotgun shells everywhere.
Kind of all this kind of crap on their vests. And it's like, whoa, man, you're not gonna be able to move with that.
The thing, people, I guess they like to have their equipment, but your Molly vest is meant to adapt and evolve to what you're doing every single time.
Right.
I would say with Molly gear, I probably changed it so many times over the years. I wish I had taken pictures of everything I had done.
Oh, we're doing this mission this week, so I need to put this pouch and take this pouch off and move this one over here.
Right. So we're going on a mission to kick Habib's door in or something, and his door is only that wide. So you take some pouches off the sides, throw them on the back or in the truck, depending on how we're getting there or whatever. But it's always supposed to be evolving. That's the best part about it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what most people forget. You know, they get excited about weaving all this stuff on, and they're like, okay, that was a lot of hard work. I don't want to do that anymore. Like, well, your stuff's going to have to evolve, you know, as you're changing whatever your mission is. If you're an operational kind of guy, or even if you're just a civilian shooter, you want to look from a self-defense perspective or zombie apocalypse or whatever other wet dream people have, like whatever it is that they're looking at, you have to be able to adapt your equipment based on what's going on. If you change weapon systems or something like that, you have to be able to adapt. So we got to take a break. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about load carrying, right? We kind of mentioned that, but like we talked a little bit about armor, kind of the evolution of that. Now let's talk about load carrying equipment. Like how are we going to carry pouches or magazines and pouches? You know, do we want open top? Do we want Velcro flaps and freaking buckles? You know, there's all these different kinds of things out there. We'll talk more about that. You're listening to The Arms Room.
Thriving business and help employ local veterans. The Vetraplex Handyman Construction and Landscape business is the opportunity you've been waiting for. The Vetraplex is your gateway to an affordable startup business with 0% financing for qualifying owners. By owning a Vetraplex franchise, you will be hiring veterans, providing them both income and opportunity, while at the same time providing your customers a way to say, thank you for your service to our nation's veterans. For more information, visit vetraplex.org. Again, that's vetraplex.org or call 928-284-2022.
Are you or someone you know looking for a new job or career? The Vets on Media family would like to invite you to the National Career Fair in Phoenix on November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. This free job fair will be held at the Phoenix Airport Marriott Hotel, located at 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. This is your chance to meet some of the top employers in the Phoenix area face-to-face. Get ready to jumpstart your new career at the National Career Fair in Phoenix, November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. at the Phoenix Marriott Hotel, 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. For more information, visit ncfairs.com/Phoenix. Again, that's ncfairs.com/Phoenix.
Breaker 19. How about that bandit? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets on Media Network.
All right, you're back on The Arms Room. We've got a couple of guests in the studio. My dad, Sam, and a friend of ours, John, who is both of them kind of talking to us about gear evolution. For those of you watching on YouTube, John is not a lumberjack.
No, he's not. Although he looks striking. Like that's immediately what I thought when I saw him in the parking lot. I was like, he's a lumberjack.
Who is this lumberjack man? And my dad's talking about how to fight in the trenches against the Germans, right? Lots of crazy stuff. Big old bayonets.
You just moved up like 70 years, right?
Bayonet. By the end of the show, he's actually going to be in Vietnam. That's,
okay.
That's the goal.
Is that what we're getting? Is that what we're going?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay. All right.
I've gone from being with Custer all the way to
all the way to World War I, right?
That was fast.
Yeah. He's a vampire. He lives a long life. So what we were talking about during the break are two things I want to mention. One thing that I really like is we were over at Sean, our friend Sean, who runs the Tactical Medic. Mm-hmm. We're over at his shop, I don't remember, a couple years ago.
It hadn't been that long.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember. Remember when I pulled out the armored undies, right? Yeah. So I pull out the armored undies.
It was about this.
Which I'm surprised you haven't seen, right? So they have armored boxer briefs. They have soft armor like around the femoral artery. So he's actually got them still. He still has the same set. And says someday he's going to sell them.
Sure.
And I'm not going to say that I've been naked in those. I'm not going to not say that I've been naked in those. But I will say that if you buy those from Sean,
wash them.
You're going to get a little piece of me.
Just wash them. I'm willing to bet, knowing some of the other dudes that I know that hang out
probably a piece of a lot of dudes in those things. He just keeps them in a box that everyone walks up.
Everybody's like, oh,
these are
cool.
armored underwear. I'll be right back. You know what I mean? Like, how can you not try on armored underwear?
Valid point, sir.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, armored undies, certainly the thing. You were talking about the blast diaper.
Yeah, they have a blast.
Is that when something blows up and you crap your pants?
Well, it'll contain that too.
Okay.
But essentially, it came from a lot of dismount stuff going in Afghanistan, and a lot of IEDs and victim-operated IEDs. And EOD guys started wearing these things because dudes were getting jacked up. So it basically folds up into a little pouch that'll fit on the small of your back, or right on the back of your belt. And it's about this big. And there's this pull tab that goes under, kind of hooks to the front of your belt that you can grab and pull. So if you know you're going somewhere where there's going to be something, and this thing's got soft and hard armor in it.
So how does it roll up if it has hard armor in
it? It's not like,
it's not hard armor.
It's not ceramic plate, but it's a harder armor, and it's segmented.
Okay.
So Sean's got one. Next time we're down there, I'll try to dig it out and show
I'm
you.
interested to see it.
But anyhow, you grab it and you unroll it and you like clip it to your belt or Velcro to your belt.
Okay.
And then it protects your femoral and your dude bits.
Okay. Or lady bits.
Or your lady bits. Not a lot of ladies doing dismounted operations in Afghanistan. Just going to throw that out there.
Okay.
So, but it will protect your lady bits if you're a lady doing stuff like that.
That kind of stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. One comment that my dad made during the break, though, that's always important to remember is the equipment can change all it wants to, and it will continue to evolve until we're up to this crazy advanced warfighter kind of stuff that we see in video games now. But, there's one thing that's never changed since the first day of soldiers, and that is soldiers.
Yeah.
And honestly, what's cool about most of the stuff we're talking about is while some of this is developed by the military based on experience and stuff, we were kind of talking about that during the break a little bit as well, but so much of gear has been changed and modified by the guys who are on the ground. Whether they were field improvising and then that turned into something, or whether they got out and created companies like Blackhawk. I like Blackhawk gear. It's pretty decent stuff. They have some, like everybody else, they have some stuff I don't care about, but they have some good equipment. That's a great example of how equipment evolves. You got a guy who was with the SEAL teams. They're navigating a minefield and his freaking pack breaks. They're in a minefield and his pack falls off his body. Like, if you could pick a worse place for your stuff to start falling on the ground,
Yeah,
there's no worse place. So he's like, okay, well, that didn't kill me, so that's good. But he kind of made this commitment to himself, like, if I get out of this alive, I'm going to build a pack that is never going to fail like that, because this is a military issue piece of garbage that almost just killed me. And so he got out and he made this really awesome pack. And then from then, Blackhawk, which is now a huge organization, huge company, that's where they started, was just a guy who was boots on the ground saying, this isn't working, got to fix it. And that's where so much of our stuff, I think,
Tactical Tailor started
really
too.
comes from. Yeah, Tactical Tailor, Tier Tactical, same thing. Guys just getting out and saying, we don't want this crap to fail like this. It can't fail us. It's too important. So many companies started from those roots, so it's always good to see that. So John, talk to us a little bit more about load bearing equipment. There's so many people who they've got, like this carrier that I'm wearing, for example, it's got these stupid Velcro pouches. And typically what I'll do if I'm actually wearing something like that is I'll do something along this line at the very minimum, where I'll get at least a first pouch open, so I can get access to it, and everything else kind of, reserved, so to speak. But I'm really honestly more of a fan of open top things. I'm not humping around the mountains of Afghanistan or anything like that, so I don't know how that's going to affect it. But I like the open top tacos from HSG. I love those things. They're good retention. They hold a multitude of different magazines. These have some double mag pouch. I'm not a fan of double mag pouches. I like single mag pouches, but that's just what this carrier comes with. Right. It's kind of a default thing. I like Kydex stuff, even on a carrier. Kydex stuff is great. Again, it's good retention, and it still gives me the capability to very quickly and easily get access. I've seen things, I've got a couple things that use like the bungee cord system. Again, I used to kind of flip at least the first bungee out of the way. Never really used any of the buckle stuff because that just seems retarded. Other than like a frag pouch is about the only thing I think I ever used that had, a buckle on it. Everything else.
That's a good one.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. You need some positive action there.
I want to make sure that I'm pulling this thing out for real. So what have you seen there, John, as far as, actual load bearing equipment? We're trying to carry mags, radios, freaking water bottles, whatever. It's kind of the evolution of gear there.
Well, I'd say initially when I started putting things on the vest, it was, we had the double mag pouches, so you put all those in the front, and then you got to have your night vision pouch, and then your medical pouch, and then the CamelBak came out with a pouch. You put it right on the back. So it seems like that would be the perfect setup, but over time, double mag pouches are not used as much as they used to be, and everyone seems to go to the single mag pouches, the taco ones.
Yeah,
I've seen pictures. I've not
they're
actually.
They're really cool, man. If you've never tried one,
Yeah,
you should
like-
check one out.
I'll check them out. I just use one of the. I have a tactical tailor one, so just drop the mag in, put a little retention band over.
Yeah, little bungees are great.
I use those. I think on my last deployment, I used those. They worked great. I really base everything on what I'm going to do that day. If I know I'm going to, be walking around in the mountains, well, I'm going to need to carry a little bit more water. So I'll throw an extra pouch on, put a bottle of water in it, or, more ammo. It's always good to have lots of ammo.
That's right.
Yeah, you can never.
Especially when if you're going to, like, when we did several missions on my last tour where we went up and we knew something was going to go down, so we'd carry more stuff. For me, I like to carry all my extra stuff in a backpack. I have my initial 6, my first aid pouch, and then everything else in the backpack. To me, that's simple. If I need to lay down on the ground where most firefights go, then I'm just going to pull my backpack off and take out what I need when I need it. But I was a sergeant, so I was doing more directional fire for guys and shoot this and shoot that, and didn't really have a whole lot of time to
Not a lot of
figure
time.
out for myself. I was more concerned about other people,
Yeah.
So it really just depends. If you're kicking indoors, everything in the front. It just really depends. It evolves on what you're doing, not necessarily over time, but just on the mission. So.
How much time would you typically spend before you would go out and do something, both from a military perspective or a contracting perspective, before you would actually go out and hammer whatever your objective was? How much time would you spend prepping your gear? I mean, putting on new pouches. I mean, that is kind of a time-consuming thing. So
I'd probably set it up and be like, "This is good," and then I'd take it all off and try it a different way. Try it on, maybe go walk around for a bit, and then decide that this isn't going to work out either, and come back and fix it how I needed to fix it. And eventually, over time, I started taking this one chest rig I had and had it fast clipped right to the vest. I thought that was a great idea until the fast clip started breaking and disaster struck. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm just going to have to maybe do this again in the future because I like the idea, but I'm going to have to stick with stuff on the vest for this kind of mission from now on, So you got to learn. If you're not out there abusing your equipment, you're never going to know.
Yep.
So you mean I have to take all this stuff out of the closet and stuff? I have to wear this stuff? Can't just buy it and put it in the closet?
No, you can.
You can.
And then later, when you have to pay your credit card bill, sell it for a third of what you paid for it.
Yeah. Plus, you mentioned something that I can't understand, John. You said only 6 mags. That can't be true because all the pictures I see on the internet of gear have no less than 16 mags.
Dude.
All right. Okay. Over time, we talk about, how much am I going to carry? How much I want to be protected? How light and maneuverable I want to be?
Right.
I have done that before. I have gone out with like 15 magazines, 60 magazines. And I come back with all 16 magazines, right? Now, how many times has that happened?
Right.
Too many times.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out, can I carry extras? Is somebody else going to have extras? Are we going to get resupplied? So 6 is a good number.
Yeah.
And if you're doing reconnaissance, I remember at least the old manual called for 4. So it just really depends on what's going on.
I mean, again, like as a regular guy setting up my gear, not operational, doing stuff like that, I'm setting up 3 mags typically on my gear,
That's good.
and 1 in the rifle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a freaking lot of ammunition.
That's all I do.
You know what I mean? Like if I find myself on an individual basis with, like you said, no resupply, no fallback point, anything like that with, and I'm like, oh, I'm out of rifle ammunition. Then what I need to do is drop all my shit and run fast
Really
as possible
fast.
because I am in deeper problem than
Or
I can probably
if you
handle.
find yourself in that situation, there's probably some extra stuff laying on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Somewhere
Hopefully-
in close proximity.
Hopefully, if I've fired 4 magazines worth of stuff, I have handled at least a few problems, and I'm able to battlefield pickup. Yeah, exactly. So
On max, the most amount carried.
Yeah.
I think it was in 05. We're in Helmand, Afghanistan, running around doing stuff, and we went out for about a week, and no resupply throughout that week, from what I can remember, at least on our side of the operation. And I went out there with vehicles, and I think I brought like 23 mags with me and like 40 HEDP. We got back and I had a magazine and a half left and 2 HDPs. So it was a busy week.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So,
dude.
but I'm in a vehicle, so
Yeah,
I can
right.
carry a lot more.
Great dynamic,
so
too.
it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
absolutely.
typically had 7-ish magazines was kind of the standard. And then, of course, we just threw a backpack in the truck that had like
whatever you need.
15, 20 extra magazines, a couple saw drums, some 240 ammo.
Now, how does that compare to where are we? Are we World War II now? How's that compare to World War II? No. So how's that compare to the Vietnam era? I mean, how many rounds typically would you guys go out with?
Well, I just sitting here thinking. I remember the first time I went out. I had 2 grenades, and I can't throw anything. I'm a 6-year-old girl can throw a rock further than I can. So
I did not get my outfield throwing abilities from my father.
Okay.
and then I'd heard all the war, so I had them taped up. The handles on my grenades. I had 2 grenades. I had all this ammo. I can't remember now. And I had a 45.
It was
and
all
then
20 rounders then, though, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I was carrying a 45 with. I think I had 6 mags for it, and then I had a shotgun and ammunition for it, and then extra water and medical kit. And I had all this gear, and then about 2 hours into the patrol, I said, "This sucks." Please, let's head into somebody's where I can get rid of some of this.
Hey, you guys want some stuff?
So the next time I went out, I had trim things back, because you got to think about what you're going to be carrying and where you're going. And like I said, there's always a battlefield resupply. So, and I trimmed back. I went with the, and here's one that, with Car 15, which has of course been renamed now, but I carried a Car 15. I got rid of the pistol because I was carrying so much other stuff. And so you trim it down. Like you said, you look at where you're going, what you're going to do. There were times when I carried a shotgun, and depending on where we were going into, and usually you modify where you're going.
Now, your load bearing stuff then was still all, though, basically the LBE. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like the old harness system, belt system, plastic buckle up front with these impossible to use 3 mag pouch kind of things, right?
Oh, the mag pouch was when you took extra ammo, it was all came in a little
I guess you got
bandolier.
bandoliers, right?
Yeah, the cloth bandoliers.
How did you carry your mags then? Like
cloth bandoliers?
They were in the bandolier.
Yeah.
You
And
didn't
we had a
resupply off
pouch
belt.
that you carry, but I usually typically carried 2 taped together on the rifle and then 2 extra pouches or 2 extra mags. Because my job kept me from
having to shoot so much.
Once we made contact, my job was to pull back and help take care of anybody that got hurt.
So when you're, what other kind of stuff do you guys have to carry?
Well, I carried
canteen, obviously water.
Well, we carried. Yeah, I remember when they first came out with the half-gallon plastic canteen. Oh, that was great. That was fantastic. And to make those pouches, we carried those. I always carried extra water because I worked with the war dogs, and so I carried a little extra water for the dogs. And then my medical kit was, pretty bulky.
Right. But that's also from a time where not everyone was carrying a medical kit. Everyone had a field dressing.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, that's right.
And the field dressings were pretty rudimentary, but still, that's pretty much all that they were carrying. So when you're carrying supplies, you're carrying supplies for you, everybody else. Plus, as you said, you work with the war dogs, so you've got you plus humans plus dog stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty freaking big kit.
Well, human and dog stuff was the same thing.
Yeah, but did you have to throw? Did you guys carry anything extra for dogs?
That's what I said. That's what's my medical bag. And we had a medic with us. There was once when they said, "Oh, we got a medic. We don't need I don't need to go." And he left, and I was
in charge of everything.
In charge of everything. Good thing they didn't know how my medical training was.
This guy does not look like a dog.
You don't bark, I don't fix you.
Right. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to keep talking about the evolution of gear and kind of modern equipment and really some of the advantages. That's kind of what we're going to end the show with. They're like, what are the major advantages of being able to carry and access gear, and what kind of equipment should people really be considering? That's it, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I got a little brain derailment there. It's like, crap, is there something else we're missing? All right. So we got to go on break. You are listening to The Arms Room.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey, everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Break a one nine. How about that bandit? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
Would you like to own a thriving business and help employ local veterans? The Vetraplex Handyman Construction and Landscape business is the opportunity you've been waiting for. The Vetraplex is your gateway to an affordable startup business with 0% financing for qualifying owners. By owning a Vetraplex franchise, you will be hiring veterans, providing them both income and opportunity, while at the same time providing your customers a way to say, thank you for your service to our nation's veterans. For more information, visit vetraplex.org. Again, that's vetraplex.org or call 928-284-2022.
You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets On Media Network.
All right, you're back on The Arms Room. We're talking today about evolution of gear. We've got John in the studio with us who has pretty good experience overseas using and abusing taxpayer-supplied equipment.
Yep.
And my dad, who has a lot of experience. Where are we at now?
Korea.
Okay, who has a lot of experience.
It's cold weather.
cold weather.
In the cold.
With cold weather. Dun, 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 dun. What, is that the MASH? Is that the MASH thing?
I don't remember.
What's the MASH theme, Dad?
I can't remember.
Dun, 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 dun. Is that it?
That sounds
Dun,
right.
Dun, 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 dun.
Google it.
That's it.
Look up.
That's it.
Google it.
I just watched MASH.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
You would. All right.
Coincidentally, my grandfather was a cook in a MASH unit in Korea.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, it was.
I knew a guy in the military once.
Yeah, I did too.
So anyways, so we're gonna kind of wrap up the show. We got a few more minutes here of talking about what are during the break. We're kind of talking about some of the cool stuff that you're like, yeah, the military got that right, or no, they totally dropped the ball on that. So, what are some of the coolest things, John, that you think, like, if you had to, I don't know, your top 5 coolest pieces of gear that you've seen over the last, decade plus of being around this and being operational with equipment? We're probably like your top 5 things that you say, if I was going to go out and buy equipment, this is the stuff I would buy based on my experience and the good use that I saw out of it.
The chest rig that Tactile make, MAV.
The MAV.
The MAV.
Awesome.
I have one that's the
split front
split
MAV.
front. I didn't like that one so much, but the other one, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I used as well. Those Tactical Tailor really knows their stuff.
I do like, I think it's Tier Tactical's, it's like a Molly belt, but it's really thin, right?
The Bracos?
No,
That's the
they've
511
they've got
ones.
2 different ones.
This one looks like a regular belt, but it's got really small.
Yeah, it's
Molly,
got
I guess.
2 rows of pals.
Yeah.
webbing
Oh,
on it.
okay.
Yep.
So
Okay.
you can
That makes things
wear
a
it.
little easier.
Yeah, you can wear it in belt loops or over belt loops.
Oh, I got it. Okay, nice. I haven't seen that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
And
really
then,
slick.
I'd say Kydex stuff is really appealing to me. I haven't bought any yet, but it just makes sense. You just stick it in and it stays and pull it out. and
Yeah,
you're good to
Kydex
go.
is great. I know they all got the Jason at TCB. They all got the TCB holsters.
Yeah.
I actually know a buddy who does custom Kydex too. Gunslinger Tactical, makes all his own stuff.
We don't recognize that company. Don't try to promo your gay
Hey,
crap on this show.
Jason's TCB stuff is awesome as well. So
Turn your mic off and then punch yourself.
take 2. My team leader used to say take 2.
There you go. There you go. I mean,
There's
so
a piece of Kydex
John's
there.
got his mag pouch off and shake,
There you
shake,
go.
shake, shake, shake. Mag doesn't come out.
There it goes.
There you go. Finally
Yeah.
fell out after getting violent with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next time you see Brian, ask him how well tacos retain stuff. He's got a funny story for you
Oh, okay.
about me
All right.
throwing my magazine across AR-500's shop.
Nice.
Pretty awesome. So yeah, Kydex. Kydex is great. What else? Last thing. That's 4. What's another great item? I was thinking like ruck wise, even like load carrying for rucks.
I'd have to go with the for me I still use an Ellis pack, so I'd have to go with the Blackhawks Ellis pack that they came out with.
Their long range pack.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite backpack for sure.
So it doesn't always have to be the latest and greatest, I think is
Right.
really the thing. Like there's a lot of latest and greatest stuff that's cool and works.
Yep.
But if you find something that's not the latest and greatest, it can still work. Like it can still function, you
Yep.
know. We see a lot of people that get out, they want the newest in Cryptech or ATAX or multicam or disruptive
Midnight Wolf.
Wolf,
Charcoal.
dark storm cloud,
Gray.
ash gray, or whatever the latest and greatest fad is, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool and everything. If you want to drop your coin on it, it's no problem. But sometimes most importantly is you got to get out and field test your stuff. And I think that's really that's where all your experience comes from. Your experience does not come from trying shit on and looking at yourself in the mirror. It comes from you actually using this stuff overseas and in other bad conditions and saying, hey, this works, this doesn't. It doesn't matter what the tagline says or what the salesperson says.
Right.
If you don't use it, it's no good.
Yeah, like a good example is some those magazine retention pouches. I've had several different kinds, and I've only found 2 that have worked for me. Is Condor out of all the companies. They actually make a good retention band on their pouch and the Tactical Tailor stuff.
Yep.
If you buy Tactical Tailor, can't go wrong. Just about everything they make is pretty decent. So
I've never had anything from Tactical Tailor that I was sad about. Never.
Never.
Yeah, their stuff's awesome. Unfortunately, I had mine stolen from me, but
Oh, sad story, bro.
yeah.
Hey, tell me that store later. Never.
What chapter do you shut the?
Yeah. I read your book, and what chapter do you shut the heck up? Are you logging all our potty words, by the way, so that we can?
We haven't really dropped any potty words.
I have.
Wow. See, I'm so
Potty mouth.
I don't even pay attention to it. I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
All right.
I said the S word.
Oh, I think that one's allowed.
I also said the FAG word, but I was talking about a bundle of sticks.
I don't think either of those words are allowed on
Or
the
a cigarette.
Army.
I think the S word is because it's not.
I didn't say the big F word. I said the San Franciscan F word.
Yeah. No, I got that. So I actually have a question for you, John. Did you have the opportunity to use any of the combat shirts?
Yeah.
And what did you think of those?
Okay. Yeah. Good question.
Well, they were I guess they would have been the Generation 1.
Yeah, probably
version.
the first gen ones. Yeah.
So as soon as you reach over your back to pull it up, it rips.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the first gen had a problem with that.
So in my limited experience meeting the guys from the asymmetric warfare group, they had ones that zipped up
had
in
the quarter
front.
zip ones.
And I'm kind of jealous because we had to run around in this crap that had Army Strong.
Yeah, Army Strong.
Right?
Those things were terrible.
And then he got to wear that, and we're like, so when are we getting all these cool things? He's like, never.
As soon as the Army ponies up and pays Cry for the Cry combat shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when.
Yeah, right. I actually used the
I was really
511
curious.
ones. So they were pretty nice.
Because in my opinion, as far as the clothing goes, and that's a vital part of your equipment. In my opinion, the combat shirt, and now they're a little bit better. I mean, they still don't have the quarter zip ones, but it's way more comfortable than wearing body armor over
standard BDUs.
And then you've got pockets on your sleeves. Because the ACU top, when they originally designed it, you were supposed to be able. The pockets were supposed to face outboard so that you could reach them with your vest on.
That was I seen those in
That would make
04.
sense.
When the Stryker Brigade relieved us in Telefar, Iraq. They were wearing. They called it the Stryker uniform, and the pockets were facing outwards for the body armor.
Yep.
And then it had all the ACU style, and zips up and
Yeah.
that weird collar. So
I even like that's something I don't have operational experience with, the combat shirt thing, but I tell you what, I like them for backpacking.
Oh yeah, they're great. Dude. They're great for all kinds of stuff because they're all
super
flat seamed.
comfortable.
They're all moisture wicking. You got pockets on your sleeves, regardless of which brand you buy.
So you still have like good sleeves.
Yeah, you've got like a normal sleeve that's generally fire retardant. If it's going to be mil spec, it has to be fire retardant. And then you've got a nice like moisture wicking top that's got a higher collar on it with the non-zipped ones. Even with the zipped ones, like similar to the one I'm wearing now, just a Cabela's like sport shirt. These things are phenomenal for everything, and I mean,
they're comfortable to wear.
Yeah, that's
they
probably one of my.
Make them in every pattern now.
Yeah.
So you want tiger stripe? I'm sure they got
flat colors, tiger stripe. We sell a lot of those actually.
So, Dad, what do you think? If you had to say, like, what's maybe your top 3 things? If you looked at, because you've seen a lot of my gear, and you've seen gear outside of, you see it online, or you see pictures of guys, rocking operationally or whatever. What do you think the top 3 advancements that we made? We're to Vietnam now, so now that you're actually fighting in the war you fought in, what do you think the 3 biggest advancements in equipment that you've seen from that era to this era? We're talking about the survivability of the average guy. What do you think the top 3 advancements are?
From Vietnam to now?
From Vietnam to now.
Well, I was sitting here laughing about when you guys were doing that. I was chuckling to myself because to me, the biggest advance is field rations.
Right.
Yeah.
When we went from the old C rations to the first of the freeze dried food, that was fantastic. And now, you got self-heating pouches. You've always got you got eat pretty good. I mean, now in the
MREs
field.
aren't that bad. They're really not as bad as most people think they are. No. It's just when you have to eat them for incredibly long periods of time, that's when they start to become disgusting.
It's anything.
It's anything. If I was eating,
if I was eating filet mignon,
for too long,
it would eventually get old.
But when you open your meal for the day and it's got a little 3-pack of cigarettes, green Lucky Strikes, you know that's been there a long time.
Right.
And but so other than the fact they're real handy to throw out in front of your bunker because they were good noisemakers. And nobody, it's harder it's a little hard to do with your packs.
MRE pouches.
Yeah.
But, your field rations, just, the body armor that you are able to carry now, along with the packs of load bearing stuff. I think that's some great advances. The weapons, we had some, like I said, I carried a what they call Car 15. When I first went over there, the unit I was with was still issuing us the M14, which sucks to carry in the jungle.
Yep.
But great if you're got some long range shooting to do and stuff. But and I made mention this earlier. It still comes back down to the training that our soldiers and the adaptability. From you go clear back in history, all the way clear back to where first recorded history. It's always the adaptability of the foot soldier is what wins the war. They can have all the drones and all this, but it's still the guy on the ground who's going to get the war won eventually and clean things up. And so, but the adaptability, hey, this doesn't work, this particular item that I have, and let's make it work in the field. You're talking about the battle armored Humvees. We drove the little Jeeps, and one of the things that they did when was over there, they used to stretch wires across the road. So, they'd take a piece of angle iron, run it up the front of the Jeep and on front bumper and hook it at the top and cut a little notch in it to break that. But we still ran with the Jeeps and, a deuce and a half with claymores down the side of it in the jungle for,
So these sort of at the top.
Well, I seen one over there on the Manyang Pass. They had taken one and painted it black, and somebody really done a nice paint job on it. And they had claymores all down the side. They had 50s up on the front and 60s, but in the middle of it was a quad 50.
Wow. What they call it, the top
they called it the top eliminator.
Top eliminator.
Oh my God. That is a terrifying deuce and a half. That just sounds like something right out of a nightmare.
Yeah.
And this is
Death Blossom.
Yeah, Death Blossom. That's right.
So when, on the Manyang Pass was just road that ran across the top and it was just one continual convoy going both directions. And you could stop at one point up there. I remember stopping one time and we counted 4 different firefights going on, battles. And so, it was just, so they ran these trucks, but, it still came down to adaptability.
Yeah.
And the American soldier. And one of my favorite things I remember happened over there was we came around a corner and there was a tanker truck carrying fuel that had just got hit in the back end. It was on fire, and the driver jumps out, runs around the side, jerks the pin lever on his fifth wheel, and jumps in the truck and drives out from underneath the tank. And somebody said to him, we were all standing there watching this truck burn. Somebody said to him, "You risking your life for a piece of government property?" He said, "That's the best truck I've had since I've been over here." So we, like I said, the American soldier is in all of this. It just astounds me the adaptability that they have to make things work.
Right on. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap things up to next week.
Yeah, what is next week?
Next week, we're going to have Jeff Spalding from Caracal USA. So we're going to be a call-in guest, Jeff coming in out of Idaho. Jeff Spalding from Caracal USA, Team Caracal, their shooting precision shooting arm, is going to be calling in and talking to us about precision shooting, about Caracal's future. We met Jeff at SHOT Show last year, and Caracal makes some pretty cool guns. They really do.
Some really slick stuff.
All out of the United Arab Emirates. Really cool history behind that company, and they are officially launching their U.S. division in 2015. It was supposed to happen in 2014, had some hiccups. 2015, it's happened. Jeff's going to be telling us more about that next week. So that's what we've got coming up next week. Our new calendar, the next 3 months, we have some awesome stuff coming up. Really, really awesome stuff. Our next 3-month calendar is, I think we're posting it tomorrow, maybe, or Wednesday. So it's going to be on our Facebook page. It'll also be on the website for the Arms Room, so the armsroomshow.com, and you can go see the calendar there. It'll get posted up pretty quickly. We've got all kinds of awesome, cool guests coming up. Toward the end of February, we're going to be on location with AR500 Armor. So we're going to go to their shop and we're going to shoot some armor.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, so we're going to go there. It'll be we're going to get video there, so we'll be able to shoot their armor and really, you know, get some firsthand experience for us and for our listeners to be able to hear and hope, you know, see. They're going to watch us destroying some property.
Great.
It's going to be good times. We're going to hit with all kinds of fun stuff. So I want to thank Dad for coming in and hanging out with us, and John, really appreciate it, man. Very, very much. Thanks for coming in and kind of sharing your experiences with us. We appreciate it. So anything else, John?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Right on. Well, remember, you can always catch us on our website, thearmsroomshow.com. Check us out on Facebook if you haven't yet, of course. And until next time, stay aware, stay safe, train hard. You've been listening to The Arms Room.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars